Yo, what's going on today, guys? It's Rikar here, and today we're going to be reviewing and looking over the 2022 NBA draft. And the NBA draft's always very interesting for me because this was like a very deep draft, because I just think players in general are just getting more skilled every single year. There's just so much information out there for everyone to go over. And honestly, I have a friend that is a scout. I'm not going to say for what team, but he personally goes out and says, like, it is actually very, very hard to recruit for basketball right now. That's why you see a lot of these second rounders being better than first rounders these days, because in high school, everyone looks good. And then you go into the travel ball. For the most part, everyone looks pretty good. And then you go to college. Is it a system player that makes them look good, or is it the player actually being good? So it's very difficult to actually judge because the window is so small. In college, it would make sense because most of these guys are one and dones. But if they went like 3-4 years like the other sports, you'd be able to really tell and see who that like next guy is going to be. Because with that little window between your senior year of high school to your freshman year of college, like there's not a whole lot of basketball games there compared to a lot of other sports. So that's why you see a lot of really good second round picks, which I do have a few I want to point out. But let's just take a look here. I actually predicted him to go number 1 today in Paolo Banchero. I predicted him to go number 1. I honestly was going back and forth between him and Jabari, but I just thought that Banchero understands his role. Like, he is a true forward, and what can you go wrong with a 6'10 forward? Like, he is going to be very good, and I do think he can play both sides of the ball. And I think they did a really good job on the draft actually explaining this pick of he is a guy that is coachable and likable. So there's not going to be any drama with him. He's going to go in there and do his job and ideally put up big numbers for him. I don't think he's going to do anything giant in his first year because it's really hard to perform. He does have some size on him at 6'10", 250, but you know, in those bigger guys, it's kind of hard to perform. Like, usually you see your rookie year guys, like usually guards, because the body type doesn't change that much. But big power forwards, big centers that he's going to be going against, it's going to be a little difficult for him, but I think he's going to do great. Chet Holmgren, I am predicting to be a ginormous bust. This dude is very cocky, coming in at 7 foot 195. He obviously has some kind of issue putting on weight, which I have seen in the past. People are talking about him as a big defensive threat, and I'm like, 195 pounds? I graduated high school at 185 pounds at 5'11" and a half. So I'm like, I understand he is a very good shot blocker, but I do think there is a big bust potential there. Being that skinny, man, I understand like they're comparing him to a potential KD and that kind of stuff, but I don't see that as his game. His game is shot blocking like a big, and then he does have some good shot, like he can shoot a little bit for sure, but I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see how they end up using him. I think it's going to really depend on the system because he really does have really good skills for that big of a guy. But is he going to be able to use him like and create his own shots? Because right now we know he could probably pass on the ball and he can probably make a shot. That's what most people as rookies and like young players in the league can do. But is he going to be able to learn to create his own shot? Who knows? Jabari Smith. I think this was he's pretty much the most you can't miss in this draft, I believe. He's going to either play power forward or center for most teams. He's 6'10", 220. He shot like 42% from 3 this year. He's just going to be a good player, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with that draft spot. Like, the Houston Rockets said, thank you. We will take that all day. Like, there's just nothing better they could have done in that situation, in my opinion. Next, Keegan Murray. He's a twin, which is I appreciate because I am a twin as well. But he is shown over his college career that he is just going to keep getting better. And he can already create shots for himself, which is huge. He is going to go into the Sacramento Kings, which we all know is the absolute dumpster fire of an organization. So who knows what they're going to end up doing with him. But I do see him going in there and potential rookie of the year with this guy. I really do think so. I know I did say it's a little bit harder for those forwards to like really adapt to the league, but he's more of a small forward. He's 6'8", 225, and I do think that he's gonna play into the system that they put him in. Ideally, with the new coach, well, Mike Brown's gonna be the coach, so ideally there's gonna be some transition there, some more shots, and that whole thing was a disaster over there. So ideally, they're gonna fix it. They have some good talent over there. The Detroit Pistons won this draft, in my opinion, because this guy fell to them. Jaden Ivey is legitimately potentially the best player in this draft. And a lot of people are giving him crap for having like an emotional breakdown on the stage, but come on. He comes his mom is one of the most biggest name WNBA players, from like a player to coach to like winning a national championship in college. Like he's been around ball his whole life. The guy is gonna have an insanely high IQ. Matching him in the backcourt with Kate is gonna be disgusting. So I think the Detroit Pistons won this draft, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we'll start getting going a little bit quicker here because we are going a little bit slow for those first few picks because I know everyone wants to talk about those guys. But I watched Benedict here play a lot for U of A because I'm from Arizona. He's gonna be awesome for the Pacers with Tyrese. Tyrese is gonna feed this guy, get him so many open shots. I think he's gonna be very good. That's an ideal situation for him. Shaedon Sharpe, the most unknown player for this draft because like he like committed like halfway through it was weird situation with him where one of those guys like I was talking about earlier, haven't seen him play a lot, but he was the number one recruit in his class. Or he's going to be there with Dame. He's going to learn from Dame. There is a lot like he's either going to be a bust or he's going to be like the best player in this draft. There's no in between, I don't think. Well, there is an in between because you can just be average in the league, but I think there's a lot of potential with this guy, a ton. Dyson Daniels, another G League guy. He's actually from Australia. Pelicans going out and getting what they need. Obviously, they have some strong guard play, but like the fact that he fell to him, he's a big guard, 6'7". Like that's a big guard. So they want it with a little bit more size to like even make that defense even bigger. So I'm interested to see how they're going to use him because obviously they have CJ and then they have little what's his name running around being annoying. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. Alvarado, he played really well for them, but they don't truly have another like two guard that is like that guy. So Dyson Daniels could completely be that guy someday. Who knows? Jeremy Sochan from Baylor. I'm really excited to see how he performs for the Spurs. I think he fits that system pretty well. I thought he was awesome at Baylor. He plays both sides of the ball really well, and nothing wrong. I haven't like honestly, all these early picks made sense for their teams. Like, there's nothing that was like out of left field that was like, oh my god. Wizards went and got a guard because Bradley Beal wants out. He has pretty much requested a trade, so. When he got a guard, I thought Johnny Davis was the best one on the board at the time being. So, once again, they made it pretty simple. Like, it was like, you could kind of follow this and like, other than like these few picks here in the middle, which you could go anyway, like every team pretty much got what they needed. And then the Knicks got a draft here, but they traded to OKC. So they got Deng. Lot of hype behind this guy. He is another guy where he is either a power forward or a center, but he is another skinny guy. I understand that these guys run a lot on the basketball, but man, these guys need to learn how to bulk up a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how he ends up trading out or trending because OKC has so much young talent. OKC is going to run into the situation where they have so many first round picks. What are they going to end up doing? Like, at some point, they're going to have to get rid of people, and they're going to have some awesome trade pieces, which ideally what's going to end up happening for the OKC is that they're going to have development some of amazing young talent, and they're just going to trade them off for superstars eventually. That's what I'm thinking what's going to end up happening if they're going to go for a run someday. And obviously keep a couple of main pieces like Shea and a couple other guys, and Giddey, but who knows what's going to end up happening with them. Jalen Williams was pretty much like kind of a stretch for some people, but I thought it was a really good pick for them. Not a lot of people know about him because he went to a small school in Santa Clara, but when they were showing him, he's a very athletic, and he has like a 7-foot wingspan at 6'6", bros. Like, that's kind of wild. That's actually extremely wild. You don't see that every day. Jalen Duran was a huge pickup here for Detroit. Makes me sad as a Suns fan, unless there's a chance here that he could end up coming to the Suns. There's a big rumor that Ayton was going to go to Detroit, but the fact that Duran fell to them, I think that trade's it's just gone now. Unfortunately, I thought Ayton was going to go to them, and then we were going to trade for someone like KD or something crazy like that. But I have no problem keeping Ayton. I think Ayton's a great player, but there's a chance that maybe they'll just swing those two. Like, they're two picks that they really like. There's a chance that they could come to Arizona. Who knows? Didn't know too much about this guy. I didn't watch a ton of Kansas this year. I feel like they kind of were like one of the better teams in the league, but no one really watched too much of them. They needed a forward, just a straightforward. So they did what they did. Mark Williams, pretty straightforward. Dude's freaking ginormous, 7'2", 242. So Hornets needed that. They truly never have had a big man. Like their big man last year was what? Mobley, not a true big man. AJ Griffin was a steal for the Hawks, in my opinion, down that low. He's a very good two-way player. Eason is arguably the best defensive guard, or he's a forward, but best defensive player in the draft, SEC player of the year, and even scored 18 points a game coming off the bench. It's very interesting how they used him at LSU. Terry, watch him at U of A again, really well. If I'm a Bulls fan, I'm excited about that one. I'm very excited about that one. I'm wondering if they're going to try to trade off Kobe White or something like that to create more time for him. So, interesting. I don't know too much about some of these guys as we get further down. I don't know too much about, but it makes sense. Their hole in there is they need a forward. Christian Braun was a guy that his mom's going to make more headlines than him. I don't know if he's going to end up being a great player or not. He could be, but his mom was very hot. Just going through here now. This one was interesting to me. This guy has some votes, as the best international player. And you think his name looks similar. It is. It looks exactly like Jokic, except the V is a K for Jokic. So, and he looks almost identical to him. Not identical, but you can see the facial structure a little bit. But that's a sleeper right there. We're just going to talk about some sleeper picks now. Like, that is a huge sleeper. He's a big dude, about 7 foot, 223. And he's gotten votes for best international player that's not in the NBA currently. So, very interesting one here. I also think Wendell Moore Jr. here was a big pickup for them. I don't know how he's going to fit into their team because they have pretty much everyone they need right now for, like, developmental players. If they're going to bring a superstar, and they might use him as a trade piece eventually, but nothing too big here. Let's go to round 2 now, just to kind of close this out. Talk about the sleepers here that really fell a lot further than most people thought. EJ Lydell is a absolute steal for the Pelicans. Absolute steal. I do not know how this guy fell this far. Look how big he is. 6'7", 243. He is a big put together guy, and if you guys have watched him, he is. I was hoping they're gonna have some more stats here, but he averaged like 19-7, or basically 19-8 and almost 3 with 2.5 blocks. So he's got a big engine, and if you watch any of his games this year, the dude, he's legit. There might be, being 243 though this early, he might have some weight issues if he gets a little too happy with himself, but I think he'll be fine. I think that was one of the biggest steals of the draft. A lot of people were afraid of drafting him for some reason, but I think he's a great player. And then other than that, what I thought was interesting was Isaiah Mobley got drafted by Cleveland, so he's going to be playing with his brother. Isaiah is obviously Evan Mobley's brother, and another guy with a lot of size, and they're just getting bigger over there, man. They have a lot of size, and he'll probably be coming off the bench with minimal minutes, but a lot of stuff going on, good for them. And then other than that, I do think this is a steal here, Jabari Walker from Colorado to the Blazers. Another guy that had a lot of time played in college, a lot of experience. I do expect him to come into the league and make a little noise, even being drafted that late. So other than that, I don't think there was anything too big here. The rest of it, I'm just kind of scanning through. But yeah, guys, I do think that everyone did pretty good in this draft. I do think my number one, like, who won the draft, like I said earlier, was the Pistons with getting Ivy and Duren in their picks. Like, that was absolutely fantastic by them. Feels a lot like almost every hole they have so much young talent. So I think them, and then obviously OKC has a ton. Like, Jalen Williams is a great pick, and then we'll see if Chet plans out. Everyone thinks he's going to for some reason, but I think there's a lot of bust potential. But that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you guys did like the draft, let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Like the video, and see you guys later, guys. Peace. Subscribe.